What's going on, everybody? It's Three Guns Down as always, here with your E3 recap for the last 4 or 5 press conferences we had towards the end of E3. And that's pretty much going to do it for me in terms of E3 coverage. I might make another videos highlighting a few other things. There is one game I want to talk about later, which I feel like everybody should get on board with. But let's talk about let's start conference to conference. First, we had Microsoft. Monday morning? I think Microsoft hit it out of the park. I really do. First off, the new Xbox at $300, that's $50 less than the PS4. So if you're talking about selling units and Microsoft becoming more popular and making more money off this, $300 to PlayStation's $350, where PlayStation has no imminent announcement of a new PlayStation or a PlayStation Slim or a cheaper PlayStation currently. For the next 6 months to a year, I see Microsoft catching up some with that cheaper, $50 cheaper. You know, people look at that $50 as a lot cheaper. So that Xbox One Slim, I think, is a huge deal for Microsoft, and it's a really good step in the next direction. I expected a new Xbox, but I didn't expect a Slim. I expected them to focus on the next iteration, which is Scorpio, which they also confirmed, which is huge, which we'll talk about in a minute. Launches in August for $300. It's just a huge thing for them, I think. They also had a lot of really good announcements. One is that all Xbox One games are also going to be on or are going to be on PC for Windows 10. Now, I haven't switched to Windows 10. I know a lot of gamers that are hesitant about switching to Windows 10, and a lot of people that are computer savvy that are hesitant about switching to Windows 10. For me, personally, I had it for 2 days. It crashed twice in 2 days. I immediately went back. There are a lot of issues they still need to get ironed out with it, but once they have those issues ironed out, there are a lot of programs already people have designed to make Windows 10 a lot less intrusive on your privacy, sending all the data it does. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking at Windows 10 in the near future, especially if I can get things like Gears of War 4 on my PC, Halo Wars 2 on my PC. Things like that are those are huge sellers. Scalebound, ReCore, Dead Rising 4, Horizon 3, State of Decay 2, all that on my PC is like a huge selling point for me to go to Windows 10, and I think it's part of a further future plan that Microsoft has, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let's talk about what they announced. I don't think they announced anything really new. Well, Dead Rising 4, but that's not new IP. Horizon 3, that's not new IP, but it is a new game. State of Decay 2, not new IP, but is new and is actually a little bit surprising. Gwent the Witcher card game. Not a new IP technically, but I kind of saw this coming from a mile away. Everybody loves Gwent on The Witcher. It only makes sense for CD Projekt Red to make a Gwent card game and to put it on PC, to put it on Xbox. I think maybe later on they might go down the mobile avenue. Who knows? Microsoft currently has them where it's Xbox and PS or PC, Windows 10 only currently, I believe. I don't know how they will go down the mobile avenue, if they'll let them go to Android, considering I think it is a deal. It may be a temporary deal, like a year long, but that also on Windows 10 is kind of like a big deal, in my opinion, because I got rid of my Xbox. The only thing I played on it was Halo 5, and I lost a lot of interest in that. So to know all this stuff is coming to Windows 10, which is a strong likelihood that the Halo 6 is going to come to Windows 10, like, I'm there. I'm there. I'm ready to go. I just need it to suck less. Now let's actually talk about the games they announced. They announced Tekken 7, which was a huge surprise to me because it was already out in Japan and it didn't show any signs of being ported over to America, like anytime soon from what I saw. However, it's going to be now to the Xbox One and PC early 2017, which I think is really, really cool. And I love fighting games. I'm a big fighting game fan, so we'll see how that plays out. Gears of War 4, everybody saw coming. We got a release date, which is nice. Sea of Thieves. Now, I knew about this because they showed it off last year, I believe, or they showed a trailer or something. Looks very interesting. They showed us gameplay, though. Now I'm a bit on the confusion side as to whether this is an MMO or whether this is like a 4v4v4 type deal. If it's like 4v4v4, I don't think many people are going to care. If it's an MMO type deal, a lot more people are going to care. So hopefully they went that route. Scalebound, Platinum always makes good third-party fighting game or third-person fighting games, from Bayonetta to the Transformers game. And if you ask me, which you are because you're sitting here listening to me talk, the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game sucked pretty bad. I think Scalebound's the reason for it. I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game was just to produce some kind of profit while they're making Scalebound. They got to get their annual numbers up there, and Scalebound may miss next year's mark, their annually quarter mark for money. Record looks interesting. We kind of saw some gameplay. I'm not a huge fan of platformers, but there's also an adventure to it. It seems like adventure platforming puzzle style game. So it depends how good of an adventure platforming puzzle style game. It comes from the same guys that made Metroid. We will see. I really hope it's good. They kind of need a good, fresh new IP to kick the ball rolling and bring over new people. Final Fantasy being on stage was weird though. Because I don't know if they said there's exclusive content coming to the Xbox, and it was also on PlayStation 4 stage. I guess Square Enix isn't picking sides anymore because they're just trying to sell as many copies as possible. It was odd. It's really odd, Square Enix positioning right now. Dead Rising 4 is great. Great looking. Frank West is coming back, which is the character everybody seems to love the most out of the Dead Rising series, and it's going to come around Christmas time, hence the Christmas theme of the game. It really depends. People that like the Dead Rising series are going to like it, but it's the character of Frank West that I think might bring more people in general. Forza Horizon 3 is a great racing game. Forza has always been a great racing game. I think Forza's really hit their stride since Forza 4 in terms of being one of the best racing genres, better than Gran Turismo. Sorry, PlayStation fanboy. Like, I've played both. Forza seems to be consistently better in my opinion. I'm not picking sides, I'm just like stating the obvious. Yeah, there were a few missteps with Forza Horizon 5. 6 has been a lot better, and I think, or Forza 5, and then Forza Horizon 1 and 2 have been really, really good, both really good. 3 being on PC is massive. I know a lot of people that wanted to play Horizon, have played Horizon on Xbox One before, but they just don't see buying a console for it. I had Horizon 1 and 2, I loved them both, but I don't see sticking around on Xbox One to keep it, so knowing it's coming to PC, in my opinion, is huge for me. Halo Wars 2. We knew this was in the works, we knew this was coming, it was rumored a long time ago. I'm super happy for this. The first Halo Wars, in my opinion, was a long time ago. Well, not that long, but, wow, what, 8 years, I think? But it was amazing, and Halo Wars 2, super excited for that, cannot wait. We already talked about Gwent. State of Decay 2. I think what's really going to depend on whether this sells well or not is, it sold well on the Xbox then. It depends, on a couple of things. One, how much new does it have to offer? If it doesn't have a lot new to offer, if it doesn't show promise in gameplay, I don't see it doing too well. That's just me though. And then finally the announcement of Project Scorpio. That's huge, to me. That they're gonna announce it this early, they're gonna get it out the door, they're gonna get ahead of PlayStation. To normal consumers, PlayStation's gonna look a little bit like a copycat, like Xbox did at first, even if they come out around the same time. Xbox drumming up press now for it, getting dev kits out now, apparently, to support 4K gaming, and it depends, there's two things that come from this. It's good that they go early because they get it out there first, they get everybody's attention first. It's bad that they go first as well, because PlayStation can look at this and see, okay, we're going to announce this at next year's E3, most likely. in this year's amount of time, how can we adjust to look better than or be better than Microsoft to get more sales? I think it's huge. I can't wait for them. Still not going to buy it. I'm going to stick on PC because everything Xbox is doing is now coming to PC. I don't have a reason to go to consoles. I can already game in 4K. But it's good for the console base. Now, the PC Gaming Show. The PC Gaming Show actually went off way better than last year. Last year at the PC Gaming Show, they had pretty much nothing to show in terms of new stuff. They were just basically showing everybody's leftovers, some extra footage here and there. That was it, nothing different. They had a lot of really good new stuff to show at this year's PC Gaming Show. They showed Warhammer 40k exclusive footage, first gameplay footage. I don't care that much about Warhammer. I might check this one out. It looks pretty cool. They showed Oxygen Not Included, which comes from Don't Starve. It's a colony simulation game. I know a lot of people that are already like, yep, want it now. They had Ark show off their newest update, which I actually thought was pretty cool. It's a redwood biome. That looks like a lot of fun to me. They had a God Simulator Giant Cop being shown off. Looked kind of funny. Was for VR. I don't know. Meh. I don't have VR. I'm not gonna have VR till next year. It's not worth getting into it just yet. And I'll bet you money there are going to be version 2s of both the Oculus and the Vive at some point. Most likely next year. We'll see. They showed Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlords, which I thought looked great. If you don't know what Mount & Blade is, just dig into it. There's a huge community of modding support in the game in general. That's like, it's a really good looking game. It's a game that's had a lot of hours of fun. Cliff Bleszinski showed off Lawbreakers. I love the look of Lawbreakers. I love the shit that's in Lawbreakers. I love the fact that they have, you can blind fire behind you if you feel like somebody's coming behind you. This game puts abilities in your hand that let you show off the innate skill you have in first-person shooters. This game could do a lot of really cool things. I think it's going to make people look at the first-person genre differently. Cliff Bleszinski is a very talented developer, and this is his baby right now. He got out of Gears of War, he wanted something fresh and something new, and damn straight he's doing it right now. AMD showed off their new lineup of cards, which I don't talk too much about technology, but I do know a lot about it, so if you want my opinion on it, these new cards, none of them looked impressive at all. I think AMD's trying to corner the lower end of the market that Nvidia has no stake in, because the 1070 is a $400 card. Here's the thing, I don't think it's going to work out for them. $200 for their 480. I don't understand this move. I don't think it's going to work out for them. It's $200 for a 480. People that are playing, many PC enthusiasts that I know, they look to get the best thing that they can at their price point. And the difference between $200 and $300 for a PC enthusiast is not that large, especially in terms of a graphics card. So you're looking at a 480 versus a 970, which is last gen's graphics cards, but still outperforms that 480 by quite a large margin as far as we know. So why buy the 480? I'm not understanding it. We'll have to wait till we actually get system specs, till we actually get some benchmarks on it. We don't have any right now, and that's, I think, a big issue, is once we have the benchmarks, we'll know more. They showed off gameplay for Vampire, which was pre-alpha. It looked pre-alpha. It looked just like basically render concept was all you could get from that video. Killing Floor showed new content. Super Hot VR, which looks interesting. If I got VR, I might actually get that. Tyranny was the new RPG from Obsidian. I like Obsidian. I like the RPGs they do. I don't like third-person isometric views. We'll see when it comes out. This next game looked straight up my fucking alley. Cyberpunk sci-fi horror game, The Observer. I think it looks fucking fantastic, and just watching the trailer of it, the snippet of gameplay they gave us, it had a moment where I was like, this is legitimately fucking freaky as shit right now. So we will see where it goes. But I'm definitely going to keep some eyes on that. Arma 3 showed off its Apex expansion, which comes up July 11th. Looks really interesting. The biggest problem with Apex is it's not, or biggest problem with Arma is that it's not optimized. If there's optimization with this as it comes out and it runs well, I will definitely be getting back into Arma. Wasteland on this map, and all the different mods look like it'll be a lot of fun. Then we saw the Turing test, which is also going to come to Xbox One. Now, the story aspect of the Turing test looks interesting, and if you don't know what the Turing test is, Google it. It's a definition that I'm hoping pertains to the actual point of the game. But one of the things I noticed while watching the Turing test, there were a lot of puzzles. And something I hate more than anything is when there's a game that has a lot of puzzles, and the puzzles do not pertain to the actual story of the game. For instance, Portal has puzzles that pertain to the story of the game. It is a portal gun testing facility, a facility built to test this portal gun. So the puzzles that you have to solve through make complete sense in the context of the game. The Witness puzzles make zero sense in the context of the game. They just seem to be puzzles there to be puzzles, and I fucking hated that shit. It was dumb. While The Witness has an interesting story that you have to look pretty hard into, I think I don't care. I watched it on YouTube, I got the story, thought it was an interesting story. Would not play through that in a million fucking years, because it's an obscene amount of puzzles for no reason that have no relevance to the story that's actually being told to you. So, where the Turing test I think will win or fail is if the puzzles have anything to do with the actual story. Next showed was Overland, which for me, meh, maybe, don't know. Wait on it some more. And then the next thing that was shown off, which I am super fucking interested in this game, was Dual Universe. Now we're expecting an alpha in 2017, early 2017. So I think it's a little bit early to make the announcement for this, personally, but I'm a huge Space Engineers fan, and this game is like, to me, it looks like the what if Space Engineers actually worked version of the game, because Space Engineers has continuously had issues from netcode, from rubber banding to stabilization to netcode. Space Engineers always has an issue. Even one point, the physics engine completely fucking broke, so the game didn't work for like 24 hours, okay? And this game is even voxel based. So to me, it looks like What If, and it's on a much larger scale, it's meant to be an MMO. It looks as if What If Space Engineers worked properly. And to me that sounds amazing, but we're gonna have to wait and see. They showed Halo Wars 2, that was cool, just to show that it is coming to PC. Then they showed Day of Infamy, which was so fucking embarrassing for those people up on stage. I don't know how they could bring that to a show and actually show it. First off, the trailer was poorly shot, looked terrible, you could tell that nobody at a professional level even bothered trying to do this. But it was there. It's a World War II mod for Insurgency. I don't know, Insurgency doesn't look that bad graphically, but for some reason, this looked terrible. This looked like it was made in 2008, I'm not joking with you. It was, quite frankly, if I was a developer of that up on stage, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing knowing that this is going to be a PC-specific game and it looks like shit. It does not look even slightly modern. It does not have like, oh, that's an interesting art style that doesn't look modern, but it still fits. It just looked like shit. And it just basically looked like Insurgency in a World War II skin, which Insurgency got kind of boring after like 10 hours. Mirage Arcane Warfare looks like a fun game. If you like chivalry or medieval warfare, this might be a game for you. It's basically chivalry, medieval warfare, but with magic, so that could be a lot of fun. And the last thing was Warframe Lunario, which is it's a new mode in Warframe, and it turns the shooter into an arena sports game. I don't know. Could be interesting. We'll see. We will see. And then they also showed some Deus Ex stuff, which I'm super pumped for Deus Ex, but they just showed a lot of stuff we've already seen. So yeah, I can't wait for Deus Ex. I'll be definitely doing a playthrough of that. I don't know. Now let's move on to the Ubisoft press conference, which opened with such a weird... It was Just Dance, which they showed nothing of the game, which I don't care about Just Dance, but still showing nothing of the game. And just having a bunch of people up there dancing in lion and giraffe suits is fucking weird. Such a fucking weird opening. But next, they immediately showed Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which looks as good as I hoped it would look. We won't get it for basically till next year. It's March next year. But it's 4-player mission open world action style game set in the Tom Clancy universe. They've confirmed that systems like the Gunsmith are coming back, where you can modify literally almost every single part of the gun, which I think is going to be amazing for it. I'm super excited for that game. I cannot wait to see it come back and all the things it will introduce, because 4-player co-op open world Tom Clancy experience like that, I mean, yeah, it looks awesome to me. Moving on to Watch Dogs 2. Nobody cares. Moving on to their new IP, Steep. No, seriously. Watch Dogs 2, I don't give a shit. It looks exactly like Watch Dogs 1, except with a new protagonist, set in San Francisco, that's still shitty at drive. It looks dumb as fuck. Watch Dogs 1 was such a huge letdown that they overhyped so massively. They have done one thing better this time around about Watch Dogs 2. I'm pretty confident they're not making it look any better than it actually looks, because they know they'll get a lot of shit for it this time around. Because the game didn't look massively impressive on stage, personally. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to make it look any better than it actually looks on a high-end PC. Otherwise, they're probably going to get shit on all over again for being like, this is false advertising, you can't make them look this good. And then, I mean, Watch Dogs 1 was such an internet shitstorm, and it was beautiful. I think Ubisoft deserved that kind of beatdown from the public saying, you can't fucking do this. And they can't. They shouldn't be allowed to. It should be pretty disgraceful when they do. It just looks like more of Watch Dogs 1, which, quite frankly, I don't care that much for. The story was pretty terrible. Some of the combat sequences were actually pretty good in that game. Pretty alright. But it didn't have enough of them, and I thought that's where the game shined the most. But just those is not enough to make me be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it again. I mean, that game's like a 6 out of 10 for me. This one will probably also be a 6 out of 10 for me. Moving on to Steep. This is not... Okay, Ubisoft. This is not a new, original genre, like you say it is. This is a new IP for you, but, I mean... You had SSX, you had all those other snowboarding games previous. This is not a new genre. Stop saying it's a new genre. Is it a new IP? Yeah, technically, but you've done these kinds of games before. And all this social interaction integration. If I have to go into a menu to do all this social interaction integration, I don't give a fuck about it. If it was snowing around or skiing or snowboarding around in the open world and you run into people kind of like phasing technology with like so many people in a certain area, that would be pretty cool. The enjoyment I got out of this game was watching people eat it. When like the one guy wingsuited into the bell of the tower, that was fucking hilarious. Or when the other guy fell from the snowboard and like broke his neck and tumbled down, that was hilarious. I just don't see how a snowboarding game could be entertaining unless you make it kind of like crazy and zany, like, oh, I don't know, SSX. Yeah, there's my opinion of it. A sigh. Like, please, make something, please, just, no, move away. But what I think everybody does care about are these next two games. South Park, The Fractured But Whole, and For Honor. South Park: The Fractured But Whole. God, I love that title. I can't say it without a straight face. I don't know how they did it on stage. The Fractured Butthole. I'm just gonna say it all as one word now. Anyway, The Fractured Butthole, fuck, looks great because the first one was great. And this being what it is, it's like this. I mean, they're making fun of Marvel, DC Comics. I love that whole. There's so many jokes they could poke in that, and for a lot of people, that's seriously relatable. So it's a great topic for them to base an entire game on, and all the episodes they did with Coon and just like superhero stereotypes and the hilariousness behind it. Like this is a ringer for me, especially with their new combat system of building your own superhero out as well. Um, yeah, man, I think this is just gonna be a really, really fun game. Next up is For Honor. This game looks interesting to me. I want a demo. I want to play it first before I like make a decision on whether I'm not going to buy it, because it is a new IP. They've talked about it being a mostly multiplayer game, but there is a single player experience. Honestly, I would, if they're focusing on a multiplayer game, forego the single player experience. I don't need it if you're focusing on multiplayer, because hopefully your multiplayer is good enough that it will keep me continuously playing way past the single player experience. You know, single player experiences I play once, generally, unless they have a super high replay value. Things like Don't Starve to me have a super high replay value. FTL has a super high replay value. There are some games that are single player that have super high replay values. I don't see this being one of them. But they're turning it around as a multiplayer focused game, yet they're not really giving us too much in the way of a multiplayer demo, or too much to look at in terms of multiplayer. They need more. I just need to see more before I can make a concrete decision on it. But it does look awesome. They showed off Trials of the Blood Dragon, which, cool, but $15, 28 missions, single player only, that's it. Meh. Cool, I like it, but I wish they would have included it as a natural extension of Trials Fusion. That would have been a lot better in my opinion, as opposed to just making it like this. Grow Up. It's an indie title that they showed off. Meh, don't know. No one cares about Just Dance. Division updates. There's more of that, which we'll talk about later on, and why I'm actually probably going to get more heavily into the Division again, just because this update looks really, really good. But I think the big one that everybody cared about the most at Ubisoft, that everybody lost their fucking shit over, and is tempted to buy VR right now at this very moment, is definitely that bird game that they showed off with. No, it's not the bird game. Who cares about that bird game? Star Trek Bridge Crew. Holy shit. I'm sorry. If I can sit down with 4 of my friends and be on the Star Trek Enterprise going through space as like an officer engineer on the bridge, fuck. In VR, fuck. Oh my god. I was like losing my I'm still losing my shit over this goddamn game. Oh my god. What really sold it for me was when they had LeVar Burton playing the game, and he's like, he's Geordi LaForge all over again. He's like, "Call's down to 20%, Captain. We need to bring," and I'm just like, I'm losing my shit over here. I felt like Geordi LaForge was gonna come play with me. I was, oh my, whew. Yeah, man, that was like sex for the first time, honestly. That whole trailer. Now, for you and your 4 friends to play in VR, it's gonna cost about $4 grand in total. And personally, I think that's worth it. For Star Trek Bridge Crew, fucking worth it. Oh my god. Worth. Yeah. Yeah. Super excited for the game. And I think that's going to do it for this E3 recap. Went over 3 of the press conferences. We'll go over Sony and Nintendo later. I'll probably do a separate video on Sony. I'll probably do a separate video on Nintendo, because I actually want to talk about a little bit about more of what Sony's apparent strategy might be here, and how I actually like the Xbox conference more than I like the PlayStation conference. Because the PlayStation conference showed us a lot of demos, and they showed us a lot of trailers. They didn't show us that much live gameplay, which I think is a big mistake. And they left out things that I wish they would have shared more about, or convinced studios to share more about, like Destiny for Bungie. I don't think they had that promising of a lineup. I think there's stuff that it's false promises right now that Sony showed us, so I wasn't interested at all. I think Sony only honestly really had one big heavy hitter, but I'll talk about all that in the PlayStation conference, and then I think Zelda deserves its own video all on its own. Which, of course, I can't show any footage for, because they'll probably smack the shit out of me, so fuck them, I'll talk about it all I want, though. And I'm probably going to forego pictures on this, just because it's a 30-minute video. I'm going to throw the audio up there, probably unedited, so it's going to be shitty. Sorry. It's just recaps, but if you want to talk more about it, I stream at twitch.tv/DugginsDown. We do have more videos later coming on. There's a game particularly I want to look at later on called Absolver, and I'll make a video separately about that, just so you guys can see it. But that's going to do it for me. I'm Guns. Links in the description for you guys. Like, dislike, sub, don't care. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. See you later.